So Mr. Kowil Olododo is the technical assistant on agriculture to the Kwara State Governor. Did you hear me? I can't see anyone. Are we here?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, great. So Mr. Kowil Olododo is the technical assistant on agriculture to the Kwara State Governor. So we can just go right straight into the question, Mr. Kowil, before we move on to the other panelists.
All right, Precious. So back to your question, just like you rightly mentioned, the government is not in the business to do business, but rather to create an enabling environment for our farmers and young agripreneurs to be able to thrive, and achieve sustainability in agriculture. So one thing that we have been able to do in Kwara State, like you said, is to evaluate what are the prospects, what are the challenges, and in doing so, the state government was able to come up with is agricultural transformational plan, which is a 10 years plan to address all these challenges and to ensure we achieve sustainability in agriculture. From the transformational plan, we have 6 pillars, which is addressing virtually every sector of the agriculture: crop production, finance, access to markets, livestock production, value chain development, and cross-cutting programs that connect all these pillars together. One thing again that we've been able to identify is, as you all know, Kwara State is an agrarian state with a lot of prospects. We have energetic youths, we have international airports with a cargo terminal. All these prospects are what we really want to ensure we take advantage of. So in doing this, we have programs that we're implementing one after the other, but I would just like to go straight into what the Kwara State government is currently doing to create an enabling environment for farmers in Kwara State. We have programs in our farmers into existing apparatus and, shall I say, what do I even call it? Existing programs basically to connect our farmers to ensure they actually benefit and we're able to develop something sustainable for them. One of it is the Appeals World Bank program, which is in the sector, the cashew value chain, the maize value chain, and the poultry value chain. This is a program where 10,000 beneficiaries will actually be benefiting, and it's not only to address primary production, but it's to address the entire value chain of these 3 commodities that I've actually mentioned, right from the primary production to secondary production, where we have cluster processing, and all these beneficiary gets to benefit along the value chain. One of the challenges that we've also identified and we're trying to also resolve is also land development issues. So we have so many young farmers in the state who want to key into agriculture, but land development has been a very big issue, no land to cultivate. So the government is currently looking into land development scheme where land will be allocated to youth for them to engage in farming, as well as providing them with all necessary support such as mechanization, good input, seed, fertilizer, and all of that. One thing we've also been able to do is also to attract a blending fertilizer plant into the state. Like you said, it's all about creating an enabling environment. We all know the importance of fertilizer in crop production cycle. We've been able to also achieve this. By next year, we should be completing, we should be completing the fertilizer plant that we've been able to attract into the state. One other thing that we are also working on is to ensure we get our farmers to farm all year round. So in this case, we are reviving back our irrigation scheme, which has been down for over 10 years. I think the last time the state government ever embarked on any irrigation scheme was about 10 years ago in Kwara State. So now we are also looking into that. And as a matter of fact, we just finished the irrigable tour around the state, because for this season, we want to start with the 2020 dry season farming. We've been able to go around to the entire state, know the irrigable site that we have and the number of hectares we can actually command. So for this season, our farmers will actually get to benefit and farm for the dry season. Let me go to another pillar, which is the livestock pillar. We are currently partnering with Friesland Capina Wampo to develop the dairy value chain in Kwara State, because we realize that Kwara State has a lot of potentials in dairy. But then you cannot encourage people to go into this line of business if you've not created, a market and every necessary support for them to actually thrive in the business. So what we've been able to do is to secure a partnership with Friesland Capina WAMCO to develop this value chain. And WAMCO won't just be coming as off-taker of our raw milk. They would also be building capacity of our farmers. They would also be coming in with, support to ensure we get good breeds. These are all part of the things that the government is currently doing. We are still talking to different development partners and technical partners to ensure we see just take advantage of what we still have in developing other value chain aside from just dairy when it comes to livestock. Also, the government has also keyed into the federal government's National Livestock Transformation Plan, which is actually aimed at resolving the conflict between the farmers and herdsmen in the states. Because basically, if there's no peace between these two, you keep complaining about Eda's invasion into my farm, I can't produce, So these are all the things that the state government is actually working on to ensure we have an enabling environment for all our young farmers and agripreneurs to actually thrive in the sector. Thank you very much.
Great, it's amazing, it's amazing. But what would you say to farmers that are not based in Kwara State, farmers that are maybe watching from Kogi State and all the other states? So what part of this would you say, okay, guys, key into this part of the plan that the government has generally? Because I want to believe that the same way Kwara State is planning and putting all these things in place, other states also are doing as much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Precious. Mr. Andrew Kwasari have actually said so much about what the federal government is doing for farmers to actually key into and also stand to benefit. The government is all about providing enabling environments, right, in this sector. So actually we make it right. For example, is what Friesland Capina WAMCO is doing with some other private companies. But currently, the federal government has so many schemes that is out there. The Agric is there for farmers to actually tap into and get access to finance. Because if you meet most of our farmers today, they will tell you one of their key challenges is getting access to finance, market offtake, and all this has been so developed in such a way that you're not only getting the finance, but there's also an offtaker that is also tied to all these schemes. So we have the Accelerated Agricultural Development Scheme, we have the Anchor Borrower Program, we have the Agri's scheme of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So we have so many of these programs. And like I also mentioned, the Appeals Program is the Agro Processing, Productivity Enhancement, and Livelihood Improvement Program of the World Bank. Currently, states in the country are benefiting. It's about midterm, and they'll be onboarding 6 more states, which Kwara State will be one of them. So these are all initiatives that is currently ongoing that our farmers can actually tap into and take advantage of to expand and improve on what they're currently doing.
Great, thank you, Mr. Corey. Thank you so much. While you were speaking, Mr. Adekunle Olayiwola joined in. Is he on the call, please?
Okay, now.
Mr. Adekunle.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, great.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I think your network is.
Back. Thank you. Yeah, I lost network for a while. I think.
Can you
hear me now?
Yes, but it's breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Not really, not really. Okay, so while Mr. Is it sorted now, sir?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we can.
Yes, I think so. Can you hear me clearly? All right.
Yes, we can. Okay, great. Before I ask your question, Mr. Adekunle Olayiwola John is the General Manager of Friesland Campino WAMCO Dairy Development Operations. I'll take it again. Mr. Adekunle Olayiwola John is the General Manager, Friesland Campino, WAMCO Dairy Development Operations. Nice to have you here, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, so we'll go straight into the question. So there's a huge prospect in dairy production due to its high command, because I know there are lots of dairy products in Nigeria. Unfortunately, our local cows can't compete with the level of milk production. So what are the things responsible for the low milk production, and what are the steps taken to improve it?
Okay, straight to your answer to the question. The main reason for this is the breed that we have in the country. Today, the cows that we have are local breeds, and they are actually for beef. They are not for dairy. Maybe I should bring an insight into dairy production. Cows, one is for beef and one is for dairy. The dairy cows are the ones that have genetics to produce from 10 liters upward to about 30 liters, which you find all over the world. But
okay, sorry to cut you, but can
today
you
in
speak
Nigeria,
louder?
we're not a dairy country. We are actually a beef. Oh, I think I have a very bad network here. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, but it's not loud. We are struggling to hear you.
Okay, give me a second. Let me readjust my network.
Okay. So while Mr. Adekunle is readjusting his network, is Mrs. Miriam Adeobafemi on the line? Mrs. Miriam, is she on the line? Is Mr. Rotimi Olatunji on the line? Oh, okay, great, great. Okay. Yes. Can you hear me loud and clear? Mrs. Miriam.
Hello, can you hear me? And here and there, a few farms doing all that. But then when we wanted to do local, we're going to backward integration, and we needed a lot of milk. And then we said, we want to use local milk and all that. You'll find it very difficult that we could not get this milk. Not just the milk itself, the quality of the milk was also very important. Because for humans, food safety is very important, where you have milk that you take, and then maybe you have antibiotics in it, or you have a high bacteria count, and it takes you to the hospital. So these are factors that was really, really playing negatively on development in the country. But over the years, we've been able to prove that the way to go it's by improving this yield and also start a smallholder dairy farm. I was impressed to hear Andrew Kwazari talking about that. That's the way to go. Have smallholder dairy farms. You can have 5 to 10 cows at the back of your house, or a small ranch and all that.
Wow.
And then you will improve the breeds. Have your veterinary come to check them once in a while and all that. So that's the way to go, and that's what is doing. That's what's happening today. I can also invite anyone that wants to see that in your state. You come to some farms where they have 10 crossbreeds, 10 to 20 crossbreeds, where they can settle down and they keep producing milk. Like I mentioned, there are one that is doing about 13 liters per day. So that's a great improvement into the system. So if we can multiply this or replicate it in various states and all that, that will be the big solution to making us a big dairy country in Nigeria.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Well done, sir. So we'll move straight to Mrs. Miriam Adeobafemi. I saw her online. Mrs. Miriam, are you here, please?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, great. Your network is perfect now. So before I ask my question, I'll just introduce you for a bit. Mrs. Miriam Ade Obafemi is the Business Development Manager at Hearts and Capital Nigerian Limited. Mrs. Miriam Ade Obafemi is the Business Development Manager at Hearts. One of the major challenges farmers are facing in the country is low yield. And to achieve sustainability, we need good farm turnout. I'm sure you would agree with that. As one of the biggest farm management company in the country, can you tell us what things are responsible for lack of good turnout relative to what we should try to be getting? And what are the best farm practices farmers need to put into consideration that can aid good farm turnout? Basically, what should we do? What should farmers do to aid good turnout?
Okay, hi everybody. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, fantastic. It's good to be here. So thank you everybody for coming. For farming or agriculture, basically it has to start from inputs down to consumption. So that is the whole value chain. It has to start from the inputs down to consumption. And for everything we're going to do as farming or as a farmer, it has to affect each and every part of this value chain, right? So you have to start from good seedlings, good climate resistant. It wasn't nice for farmers, right? We suffered a lot of loss due to the rain and climate change, good management skills. You see farmers that cannot even tell you how much they spent in inputs. They cannot tell you how much they spent in what's in cultivation, in harvesting, and all of that. So all of those accounting and bookkeeping has to start. I think the first thing is treating farming as a business. And that is where we've been having it wrong for a while. We've not treated it as a business. We're just treating it as, I plant and whatever it comes out, and I mean, good for me. So it has to start from inputs, like what seed will make the best yield for me. When do I plant? When do I water? When should I start praying for rain? Which is, of course, we cannot base our farming on rain anymore now. So all of this has to come in place. And for Hearts and Capital as a farm management company, we start from the seedling all the way down to the consumption, right? So we start from where do we get the best seeds? When do we plant? When is the best time to plant? So when do we start watering? You see that the climate change is affecting us. The heat, we don't even know when heat should come anymore, when the rain should come anymore. I mean, there's a whole lot of changes when it comes to climate change. There's this heat wave coming now, and before you know it's cold, and then before you know it's hazy and dust and everything. So all of this.
Can we hear me?
Precious, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. So our network is bad. I don't know if she's still here. But is Mr. Rotimi here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, great. So before Mrs. Miriam comes on board, we'll just take your question. Rotimi Olatunji is the founder CEO of Rural Help Initiatives. I'll take that again. Rotimi Olatunji is the founder CEO of Rural Help Initiative. Pardon me. So, Mr. Rotimi, farming, but still live below the poverty capital, despite contributing up to 70% of the total production in the company. What initiatives?
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. We can share.
We're happy to have you too.
Yes. So, first and foremost, our objective as Rural Help Initiative is for us to lift as many people as possible off poverty line. That 50% of people that are living below poverty line in rural area. We need to add more value to them through agriculture. Farming, they are all farmers. The only thing is they are farmers that just want to use the farm produce to eat. Yeah, and just sell a few of them. About 80% of their farm produce goes into wastage. We did some, so the usual way we assess rural areas is first and foremost identify the poorest of the poor. So we do that through the National Bureau of Statistics, and then we take that to each state that we know that they are really poor, and then work with the state government to identify the poorest of the poor in that area, so we can cascade it down to the wards that are the poorest of the poor, and then we do some sort of situation analysis on each of those communities to understand first and foremost what are the strengths of the community, and then most times we find out that there are varieties of issues that they go through, ranging from literacy. They don't even know how to make more yield. They don't even know how to identify.
Back to you. Are you on the call?
Oh, hi, yes, I am.
Oh, okay, great. So you can just pick up from where you left off. So we're trying to we're having a conversation before your network went out. So
yes. I mean, basically, for agriculture and for value chain, it has to start from the scratch. Like I said, supply of inputs, record keeping, knowing what to do and when. I mean, crude ways of doing agriculture no longer work. So, and because 70%, like I said, of our farmers are smallholder farmers, they do things the crude way. This is how I was taught. This is how my parents or my father, I saw my father do it. And if we were to say that we want to teach, a lot of them are resistant to change, right? Because they don't know that this is new and this is how you should do it. So you're talking to a farmer and he's telling you, this is how I've been taught, and they don't really want to know the real way of doing. So we have to change the narrative from having to change their mindset and all the way. And Heart and Capital have had to work with farmers this way. We've had to work with farmers in between, and having to talk to them, understand where they're coming from, right? Understand and break down the growth of agriculture, because it has grown from where they were to what is obtainable now. I mean, the global sector. So for us as a farm management company, we manage farms. We've had farms under our management, and we've had to keep records, and and all of those things are something that you cannot ask a smallholder farmer and say, what is the record of the number of seeds that you planted? What is the spacing of the seeds? When did you water your? They don't have records. You understand? So and because agriculture cannot be treated the way it was, it's not treated as a business. You have to have record of everything right from that point to the consumption. So for Heart and Capital input, we start from input. We start from knowing when to plant. So we have to have a lot of research on climate, and because climate is such a thing that we cannot say it's going to happen when. You have to catch up quickly. And so, which is why we are here, which is why the farm management company is here, and which is why we have agronomists and all the other professionals in the company, making sure that the farms under our management do perfectly fine. And thank God they are.
Oh, amazing. But so I understand getting farmers to be educated and to treat farming as a commercial entity now. But how else? What other factors do you think can drive sustainability in this sector of the economy, agriculture?
When you're talking about sustainability, you're talking about things like low costs. It has to be. So there's low cost. You have to have higher quality. There's this social network that has to come in, and there has to be a coordination of activities all around the value actors of the value chain. You understand? So we as farmers, we are the main actors, and so we have support support people from other, like finance, like the logistics and all of that. So there has to be a coordination of all of these value chain actors to make sustainability work. So like I said, for us, we've had that is our mission as a company, creating wealth and sustainability. So we have to get all of those things right. There's a lot of talk. I mean, we're going to talk about it now, and we're probably going to continue talking about it, but action has to be the main thing. So now actors, so it has to be actors wanting to work with other actors on that value chain. Understand? So actors having to work, okay, what if somebody came up and said, my main goal as an agriculturist, where they need to be at as I went. So imagine I am just doing the logistics of farming, right? That is part of value chain. It's something that people don't even think about. Understand? So what if I'm just, my own is just to make sure that the fish gets fresh. One is moving from Onisha to.
So you don't have to do the, you can come in other sectors,
sectors, you understand? So, but we need people to do it. We need people to want to come in, and we need to also work together for all of these aspects of sustainability to work. So the major part of it is actually finance, and then that connectivity, because there are people that have the fish, but they don't even know that cars or the logistics kind of exist. So we have to be able to bridge the gap between, which is why this conference is all about, is bridging the gap between the main producers and all the other actors on the value chain or agri-value chain going forward.
Wow, thank you so much for the enlightening session. Right now, we'll be taking questions because I've been seeing some questions.
We can hear you, Precious.
You're muted, Precious. You're muted. Unmute your mic.
Great. So this question is for Mr. Adekunle. I don't know if he's on the call. For dairy production, is the focus just on cow? What about goats and lamb milk? For dairy production, is the focus just on cows? What about goats and lamb?
Okay,
lamb milk?
For my organization, it's about cow milk, because as Friesland Campaigner, we specialize in cow milk, dairy milk. So our focus is on cow, but I'm aware that some investors trying to come in to do about goat and lamb milk for making some creams and all that. So it's I will encourage anyone that also wants to go into that, because I'm aware investors are already coming into on that to get all that.
Okay, great. This is the first time I'm hearing lamb milk. Yes.
Hold on for a second. We also have a representative from Apex Nigeria as one of the panelists. I think you skipped him. The representative from Apex Nigeria, please, can you signify? Can you come online, please?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Mr. Evans, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, so Mr. Hemmings Oka is the commercials for Apex Nigeria. Precious, do you have the questions with you?
Oh, yes. So sorry, it was below. So Mr. Amos Oka is the Vice President for Commercials at Apex Nigeria. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. So agriculture in 2019 has changed compared to that of 2020, especially because of the pandemic. From your evaluation, kindly tell us where the prospect lies in the agriculture post-COVID.
Thank you very much, Precious. It's a pleasure to be here. The discussion so far has been quite informative, and I found it engaging. So look, we've just come through quite a tumultuous year for everybody involved in the sector. Looking back, I think the goal for everybody was just to survive, right? So after you've accomplished that, then the question now is, you look around at what lies around you and say, how do we grow and how do we come back from this? Key to us is on the negative side, a lot of businesses were devastated and agriculture was heavily hit. It was hard to distribute inputs to smallholder farmers. It was hard to raise capital. We saw a lot of players in the sector also fall and go under. But on the positive side, we all came to the realization of the importance of agriculture and the need for us to sort of restructure and reinvest in the sector. So looking forward, I think the key for us at AFEX is the need for modernization, right? This is something that we've preached from the start. How do we standardize all the processes that are involved amongst all the players in the sector? How do we improve industrial processing? How do we grow our farmers to become commercial farmers? With that, they will receive greater greater output. How do we double down on mechanization? And all that is just going to lead to growth. Second, we see is in trade finance. So a lot of money that was previously in the capital markets is looking for a new home due to the low returns of treasury bills. And I think that opens up an avenue for players in the agricultural sector to take advantage of and promise decent returns for that cash and for that capital. Lastly,
can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
Are you here?
Did I lose you?
Okay. Yes, okay. Yes.
So
for a bit.
just to round up quickly, I was just talking about the importance of exports and how there's greater opportunity if we can standardize the processes internally from production all the way to offtake. There's good returns on the other side of that sector as well.
Okay, great. So like I asked other speakers, other panelists, how do you think we can drive sustainability in your own sector of agriculture?
Sure. So then goal for me would be structure, right? So how do we structure the entire sector so people are very transparent as to what they're investing in and the expected returns? So unfortunately, maybe due to sort of the rise of crowdfunding, people sort of have this unrealistic expectation about the type of returns in the sector. So how do we temper that? How do we provide transparency, provide financial inclusion, let the financial institutions know who the farmers are, what they're investing in, where their farmland is, what the expected returns are, and how to best support them in terms of agricultural production? I think that's going to lead to the type of capital that comes into the sector that's stable, expecting decent returns, and the farmers and everybody else in the sector will be able to meet up to that expectation as well.
Okay, great. Let's see if, so this question I think is for you. It was mentioned that processors should try to access farm produce from rural farmers. My question is that, what do you think is the challenge or challenges that shy processors away from rural farmers, and what can be done about it? Did you get the question?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So I think two things, right? Standardization and dealing with multiple parties. So, you know, from my home state of Benue, people always complain that there's so many oranges or mangoes that are wasting away on the ground, and why doesn't someone build up a mill that can process these, right? Well, what happens if you actually look at people that have tried and unfortunately failed, is that the requirements or the specs, the species of the produce that's being grown is not up to standard. It would be mixed, it would be different varieties, and so they can't get that consistent supply that they're actually looking for. So I think that consistency and standard in terms of supply is number one. Number two, in terms of getting the volume and the capacity that they need, they can't be dealing with 1,000 different farmers to continue their production on a daily basis. So they need a single party or a few major parties to deal with that can take care of dealing with multiple smallholder farmers in order to streamline their processes and manage their factory effectively.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Another question, let me check here. Also, from the conversation so far, I think this question will be for Ms. Miriam. Also, from the conversation so far, I was able to deduce that the agricultural sector is not organized, and also poor logistics network. What can you say about this? What potential solution can we prefer?
I mean, agriculture in Nigeria is growing, and we're all growing quickly with it, considering this and I mean, globally, how it has been. For poor logistics network, like I said, it's just because someone has not had the idea to be a logistic person. I mean, for you that are asking the question, why can't you be an agric logistics person? So, I mean, you will be providing a lot of solutions to problems, right? So the agricultural sector in Nigeria is, like I said, poorly structured. I mean, we have a lot of people doing their thing the way it is. And so, but because of the pandemic, and we've been able to see that the agricultural sector has been the one driving the economy anyway. So, and I see that people are now coming back to that. So I feel like right now, that is why we're having this conversation. We want the agricultural sector to be so structured in such a way that when an investor, I mean, somewhere outside the country is thinking about agriculture, the first place he's going to be thinking about is Nigeria. This is why the conversation is going on.
Wow, great, great. I'm sure the people that asked the question are taking notes. So somebody asked from Aziz Adekunle, is heart and capital a big player in bridging gaps between the commercial big farmers and the local farmers? I think Mrs. Miriam, you're in the best position to answer that question.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Okay, let me take it again. So the person was asking, is heart and capital a big player in bridging gaps between the commercial big farmers and the local farmers?
Heart and Capital is a farmer. We are on a commercial scale. So yes, we deal with smallholder farmers a lot. I mean, we help sell their produce aggregates for them and all of that. So I would say we are also farmers are also looking for how to bridge that gap, but we do work with a lot of smallholder farmers as a commercial farmer ourselves.
Oh, okay, great. So this is from Abdul Abiodun. Okay, no. This is from Juliet. Also, as a newbie that wants to venture into agriculture, specifically tomatoes and snail farming, is there trainings offered by the government to help new agropreneurs, teaching them advantages, disadvantages, and other obstacles that we should be aware of? Mr. Abdul, I think this question is for you. So the person wants to go into tomato and snail farming. So she is asking if there are trainings offered by the government to help them know the advantages, disadvantages, and other obstacles they should be aware of. Is Mr. Abdul Kawil on the line? Okay, Mr. Rotimi can take up the question, please.
Okay, yes. So there are a few training opportunities that the person can find. If you have access to internet, you can just go to the Ministry of Agriculture's website. There's a program called Appeal. It's agro-processing and agricultural productivity enhancement and livelihood improvement support. That appeal, all you need to do is materials that you can use for training. And down to the grassroots in each state, they have professionals that they can link you up with in any area of agriculture that you want to go into. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. This is from Grace. How can we participate into the farms program in Kwara State? How can one join? What are the processes, please? This is Grace asking Mr. Kowil. I think this question is supposed to be for Mr. Kowil. Is he on the call? Is he on the call? What processes do Kwara State have in? Oh, okay. Can anybody answer it? Because I think this is specifically coming from the government angle. Mrs. Miriam, can you pick the question, please?
Okay, I would say you should direct the question to the NISA official here. The NISA
Oh,
official.
okay. So the question again, how can we participate into the farm? How can we participate into the farm programs in Kwara State? How can one join? What are the processes, please? That's from Grace asking. Does anybody want to answer that question?
Precious,
Okay.
thank you very much. So I think for people in Kwara State, they would like to know more about the Agric projects and the Agric programs being put together by the Kwara State government. I think the best place they can get to know more is the Kwara Agro Mall. Also by what you call it, the representative of Vice President Iblis said there are a lot of programs going on as well. That what we have to do is what you call it. Get in touch with them. So after this program, we also intend to take the proceedings of this program to the representatives of the Vice President and see how we can work together with the youths and the general public as a whole. So also people should stay tuned with Heart and Capital. We try to access more opportunities with both the state and the federal government, and as soon as we have enough information to disseminate to the people who do that.
Because from here, I don't see any more questions. Thank you so much to all the panelists, Mrs. Miriam, Mr. Adekunle, Mr. Emmons, sorry, I'm finding it hard to pronounce that, Mr. Abdul Kowil, and Mr. Rotimi. Thank you so very much for having me, Hearts and Capital. So